Hello, welcome back, founders. Welcome to another live episode of Founderama Live. So, today's topic is a little kind of off the beat, right? It's not technical. What I really want to talk about today is building a strong support system for your startup. So, a strong support system for your startup. Why would you need one? um, when you're looking at what happened last week and Monday over the weekend, SVB bank collapses. A lot of startups had their funds in that bank, and those funds were frozen. And so once that happened, then a lot of startups were at the risk of not being able to make parole, the upcoming one. And at that moment, what really mattered was the support system that the startups or their founders had. And so I think it's a relevant point. I think you need to build a startup support system not when there is a crisis, but before. And it's guaranteed, right? You're gonna have crises one after the other, right? So you have regular crises, such as, of course, products, um, systems, things like that. With your customers. What's happening with my camera? Just give me 1 second. So just bear with me for 1 second while I see what's happening my with my camera. Okay, it seems to be okay. So let's jump straight in, right? So why do we? I told you why we need a support system, but let's also look at other important points of why you need a support system, right? So it can provide you with guidance, mentorship, and resources that can help you succeed. So we're really talking about the support system in terms of if you're seeking funding, for example, you need a strong support system. Without that, it's going to take a long time for you to get funding, and you may not get the right kind of funding. You may not find the right kind of investment partners, and so on. If you're not seeking funding, then you need a support system to scale, to grow, and eventually to exit your startup, right? So it can help you navigate the challenges of entrepreneurship and providing a sounding board for your ideas and decisions. And trust me, of course, if you have a co-founder, that's fine, right? So having a co-founder is okay, and you can sound off each other. Having a team is good, but remember that your co-founder, your team members are on the same boat. Sometimes you need an external kind of support, external kind of thinking, insights, overview, angles, and all that. It can also help you build connections and networks that can lead to partnerships, investors, and customers. Again, you cannot be just running solo, right? So thinking that, okay, we got a great tech team or whatever it is, we got a great product or service. Now we got the funding, let's just go to market. No, having a support system even before you go to market is crucial. It helps you with partnerships. And of course, if you're seeking funding, then it helps you with getting investors, getting access to investors. And then, of course, getting customers, the biggest thing. You need this because once you go to market, you may have ad dollars and you're getting some ad campaigns running, but the power of having partnerships, the power of connections, that's network effect, right? You need network effect. Okay, so what are the different types of support systems out there? Mentorship, of course, right? Mentors give you guidance, advice, and to validate ideas, to sound ideas off, right? Very important. Then you have advisors. Advisors can provide you with industry specific knowledge and expertise that you may not have. And when I say industry specific, it is, of course, your market segment, but also industry specific. So you could have advisors within your sector. Let's say you are in fintech, then having an advisor or having access to advisors who have operated within the fintech sector. Maybe they have built startups, maybe they have sold their startups, maybe they have exited their startups, maybe they're right now in that. They will be invaluable. You could also have additional industry specific. This could be marketing advisors. So having access to advisors who are marketing specialists, they have marketing agencies or something like that. Or like in my case, a startup advisor or a funding advisor. So I'm on the boards of startups. I'm their official kind of either funding advisor or startup advisor. People like that. They like myself. When I was an angel investor, and I'm still an angel investor, but I've sort of halted my angel investing for the moment. But I've invested in my own money in over 20 ventures. I've had 4 successful exits, 7-figure exits. I still run 3 to 4 different businesses. One of my businesses makes over $1 million a year. So advisors that are doing stuff. I'm not talking about advisors who haven't, built their own startup or exited or they're now making revenue. Oh, if their only revenue is from their advisory, then yeah, that's questionable. But so anyway, that kind of advisors, very important. Peer networks. So other entrepreneurs can provide you with a community of people who understand the challenges of entrepreneurship. I, you know what? I talk to tons and tons of founders and advise many of them. And the biggest thing that I'm always surprised about is the fact that founders don't reach out and make connections with other founders. Maybe they would, but not specifically as a support system. They might because they like, I don't know if it's on LinkedIn, they like their posts or they like their philosophy. Yeah, they may connect and all that. Or they might see an angle. They say, okay, maybe this guy can be useful for me. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just building connections even when you don't need anything, right? With peers. Anyway, this is a Founderama, the live show you're on. This is part of a bigger vision I have. I'm building a kind of an exclusive club where peer-to-peer, peer networking is one of the pillars. The other pillar is me, of course. So it's going to be limited. At the moment, I'm thinking limited to 100 members, right? So that's it. Exclusive members, 100 members. Of course, there'll be churn. So if one leaves and then another one on the waiting list steps in, but it'll be no more than 100 members so that I can personally, communicate, talk to, and interact with each of the members. And the biggest thing will be, of course, I will bring in my funding network. I will plug that in so that these 100 members have access to my network of family offices and angel investors and all that. But one of the strongest pillars there will be this peer. Why? Because building that relationship, when you're going to market, you may look back and say, oh, okay, hang on, I have these 3 connections that may help me with this particular aspect of going to market, and so on, right? Or also sounding board ideas, just discussions. Look, let's say I'm an advisor, right? So, and a founder I'm working with brings an idea to me for validation. I look at it, I give my kind of advice, but I always say, do you know another founder who maybe not in the same sector, but who's in this process, in this journey? Have you thrown this idea to them? And don't be afraid of throwing ideas at people. You know what? People will not take your ideas and steal them and run away, right? Because ideas are plenty. Ideas are everywhere. Execution is important. You could, in fact, give your idea away to someone while you're building it. And yeah, if they get to market before you, so be it. That means they're more efficient, right? Doesn't mean, of course, I'm not talking about giving away trade secrets and all, but build in public. That's what I say, build in public. And you might say, well, you're saying build in public, but on your profile, we see that you've just started a stealth startup, right? What is that about? Well, no, it's the very reason that it is, I put it up and is because I'm going to build in public. But right now it has no name, it has nothing, right? So it's just being called stealth. But once I formulate all that, it's going to be building in public. Okay, so peer networks and then incubators and accelerators. These programs can provide you with resources, mentorship, and connections to investors and customers. And that's what I have. For example, I have an incubator, and it was started ages ago, precisely with this, right? So to help, our incubator slightly different. It's called Square Maze. It's not your regular kind of incubator. We invest in our founders, but we also build those companies up. So it's very hands-on, and all that. But generally, incubators and accelerators is where they give you some money. They then provide you with mentorship. They help you with connection to investors to get some pre-seed or seed funding and so on. So incubators and accelerators are pretty good support systems. They support you. Okay, how to find a support system? Okay, nothing much about this. It's just a repeat of these things. But first of all, you need to identify your needs, right? So what kind of needs do you require? We're looking at support in terms of advice, support in terms of funding, support in terms of peer sounding ideas, so on and so forth. You need to identify that. And then you got to attend events and conferences, right? So this is where you find potential mentors, advisors, peers. And it doesn't mean you have to go physical. It could be online events, all that. Join networking groups. This could be on LinkedIn, and of course, this could be also physical, local networking group, meetups and things like that, but also online. Now, be careful with these networking groups. A lot of them are just trash, right? So there's just a lot of signal to noise ratio, and they just keep, blasting, spamming, and all that. But some networking groups are really good. Okay, so the next one is uh, research. Yeah, so reach out to incubators and accelerators, and then apply to the ones that align with your goals, right? So don't just get in, because a lot of incubators and accelerators out there these days, they charge you. And I was surprised. And the days have changed. In those days when we started our incubator, we were giving funding to our, yes, some of these give you, but initially they charge you. I was talking to a founder on LinkedIn, and they asked me, they gave me this link to a summit. It's based out of Switzerland, I think. And they said, should I join this? I took a quick look at it, and it was like $8,000 or $10,000. And I was like, what? So you got to pay $8,000, $10,000 to get in, and then they're going to mentor you. And I looked at it, and most of it was a course, a curriculum. You go through that, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you got to watch out, right? Be careful with that. And of course, social media. Hey, LinkedIn and all that. Now, building strong relationships. This is very important. Building strong relationships. Once you've identified potential mentors, advisors, or peers, it's important to build strong relationship with them. Be respectful of their time and expertise. Okay, this is something that I really want to talk about, because so on LinkedIn, these days I'm becoming really, really frustrated. If you like something, and so let's say someone reached out to you, and they want to connect with you, and you connect with them. Immediately, straight off the bat, they send you a message, a DM. Do you want to get on a call? We have this startup that we're working on. We're looking for funding, or it could be something else. Do you want to get on a call and discuss? Now, it's okay. It's okay. It's a numbers game probably, But what would really work is building a relationship, right? Because my time, my expertise, it's valuable. And when I say the reason I'm saying that is it's easier to explain this, right? It's every or most advisors out there. Now, the advisors or the mentors, worth their salt, usually have other businesses that they're running, right? And that is critical. If advisors, if you're going off our advisor, are only going, so again, I'm having glitches with my camera. So if the advisors that you're going after are just advisors, right? They got no other businesses running, then okay, maybe that's okay. But try and build a relationship, right? And building a relationship is not about just liking every one of their posts. if it's LinkedIn or even Twitter, and then asking. Now, relationship building is different. It is about understanding them, okay? Engagement. So don't confuse relationship with engagement, right? If people if you're liking their posts, for example, or commenting or something, that's called engagement or engaging, right? Relationship goes beyond that. It's understanding that advisor, understanding that manner, and what is their worldview, what do they care about, what's going on, blah blah blah. Anyway, so be very respectful of their time and expertise, right? It also means that you got to be willing to pay for advisory. Now, most advisors, worth their salt, will actually, they'll be so busy because they're running their own businesses, they're probably have their own startups, blah blah. They'll be so busy that even the first instance, you send them a pitch deck or something, they'll say, well, okay, here is a link to my Calendly. You can book a half hour or an hour, we can discuss. But that half hour or hour would be charged, right? They'll probably charge you, I don't know, something very, very minimal. I don't know, $250 or $500 or something like that. Why? It's not because they're trying to make money off that particular call. No, but it's a filter system, right? It's a filter system. Otherwise, imagine an advisor, and there are hundreds, the thousands of founders, startup founders on, there are hundreds of thousands of founders on LinkedIn. Now imagine they're all reaching out, they're all sending this message and these messages, and let me just sending these messages, and let me just give me 1 second. Right, sending these messages on LinkedIn, and every one of them wants to jump on a call. Is it practical? It's not practical, right? So be willing to put that 200, 300, 500, whatever it is, to get access. You may not get a lot of value on the first call, but you are showing commitment. I guarantee you that advisor will be interested in your project, because you were willing to put down a token amount. And also it's to clear out, because a lot of founders out there, they want funding, they want advice. They don't want to put down any money. They don't want to pay advisors, right? Sometimes I get these requests coming in. Yeah, advisors to get funding, and then take a percentage of that funding once it comes through. Okay, yeah, well, success fee, yeah, it's something, and it's part of the deal. But what about all the time and effort that goes into advising initially, right? So anyway, it's a funny game. Be open to feedback and suggestions. So with advisors, with mentors, with even peers, be really open to feedback and suggestions, right? So if you are contacting an advisor, obviously there is a reason you're doing. They're probably industry experts, they're topic experts, they're this process experts, whatever, they're experts, right? Be willing to take their feedback and suggestions. Show gratitude for their help and support, right? So even if it's a simple thing, even if it's a duh moment, right? Oh, I already knew that. You may already know that, but that's what advice is. Not one single thing. It's not an epiphany. It's not like an advisor will come down and will give you one single formula that's going to then get you then $10 million in funding, get your startup to $1 million in MRR. And no, it doesn't work like that. Advice is it's a long-term thing. It's all these little things that come together to give you that success. That means you need whatever help it is, even if it's a simple thing. You contact them and they say, advise, oh, you know what, I'm busy, but here is a link that you may want to check out, right? That is good enough, right? So don't burn your bridges. Build bridges. Offer to help them in return. Okay, this is something that may not be applicable all the time, but if someone advised you just casually, not as a paid advisory, either because you cannot afford them or they don't have time, they can't take you on, but what if they just sent you something? Offer to help them something in return. Maybe they're doing something. Maybe they're on LinkedIn. They're trying to create something, or they're posting something, or they're making videos. Whatever it is, or if it is if there is something you can do, offer, or maybe for their startup, they may post. This is where relationship comes in. You understand? So they may post, like I keep posting all my problems every day with my businesses. If you see something and say, oh, maybe I know someone who can help this, not don't try to recommend people so they will treat this advisor as a customer, right? Don't try to give the other people businesses at the expense of your advisors. But anyway, offer to help them in return. Common pitfalls to avoid. I've already spoken about a few pitfalls, but choosing the wrong support system. This is very important. This support system has to align with your goals, right? That's very important. Failing to build strong relationships. Again, I spoke about how you should build relationships. It's important to invest in them and you will get back tenfold. See, instead of taking a shotgun approach, right? Sending out messages to all advisors out there, spend time to identify 2, 3, 4, like a final list, a short list. Then figure out what it takes to make one of them your advisor. That's it. Invest in them. Believe in them, right? Not being open to feedback. Well, okay, that not everyone, most people are open to feedback, but you'd be surprised, how many times I've seen, founders take advice, they never implement them. And then they come back 3 months down the line. And then you say, have you done this? They're like, oh, no, we didn't do that because, my co-founder, he was not comfortable with that. Well, did you address this at that time? Well, at that time he was okay with it, but then later on he changed his mind. And so we didn't go through with it. Okay. And do you know the opportunity cost of that? Yeah. So, okay. Taking too much without giving back. Taking too much without giving back. It's important to offer help and support in return for the help you receive. Now, it could be something you can do in return, or you can just pay them. Of course, if it's with peers, you could be taking a lot and not giving. So that means, you go on these peer networks, groups, and then you post out, I have a question, guys. I'm struggling. I don't have financial projections. I cannot afford to get someone who can create those financial projections for me. Is there anyone in this group who has done their own financial projections? Do you have any tips for me? And then you have a few different guys jump in and say, oh, yeah, I know, I did it myself. This is what I did. This was the resource I went to. These are different things. Here is a link, or maybe here is my deck, blah, blah. You take it, you go, you do your thing, and then you don't even turn up till the next time you need help. No. Give back, right? Give back, pay back. With peers, of course, you can't pay them with money, but you can. Look at what's going on. Maybe somebody else, even somebody might help you. Doesn't mean you help them back, right? Maybe they're not asking for help in that peer group, right? Somebody else might be. This is a way, this is karma, this is dharma, okay? There is an ancient Indian Vedic philosophy called dharma. Dharma, there's no right translation in English, right? There's no word that precisely encapsulates that idea, because dharma could be something like duty, right? So duty is a rough translation, but dharma changes. That means your duty changes depending on the context and the situation. But one of your duties is to give back. One of your duties is generosity. One of your duties is justice. You see what I'm saying? So dharma is maybe I'll make a separate video about that. It's a very interesting concept. But your dharma is to give back. If you received help from someone, right, give it back. Even this, if you're watching this video, and yeah, a lot of it is obvious stuff. But if there was one moment of epiphany that you felt has changed your mindset, has contributed to your growth, then give back. Not to me. I'm not asking for anything in this video, but out there, go and give to somebody else. And especially if you're a part of a peer network, do that. And with Founderama peer network that I'm building, I'm going to make sure that everyone understands, and it's going to be a very strict. That's why it's going to be only invite only. And I will go through a process of interviewing and making sure that whoever steps into this Founderama network, this club, this group, understands Dharma, understands this concept, because it's all about taking and giving, giving and taking, taking and giving, right? Okay. So these are the common pitfalls. Conclusion. Building a strong support system is crucial for the success of your startup. Identify your needs and then attend events, join networking groups, peers, incubators, accelerators, social media, and that. Once you've found your support system, invest time and effort in building strong relationships and be open to feedback. And remember to give back and offer help and support in return. And if it's professional advisors, pay them, right? Invest in them. All right. So that I think is kind of a brief roundup of how to build a strong support system for your startup. If you have any questions on this, then ping me, right? Reach out to me on LinkedIn, DM me, or just on Twitter. Send me a message and I will try and answer them. All right. So till my next live, which is tomorrow, go forth and prosper.